Good afternoon, Riverdale School. This is your principal, Mr. Paris, coming to you from my office with actually our last lunchtime read aloud because this is the last Wednesday of the school year. So as I've been talking about over these past couple of weeks, I'm reading books this month that have to do with members of the LGBTQ plus community, which we're also going to see today can also maybe include animals. But we're going to talk about really today about the family structure, because what we need to remember is when we're talking about pride and LGBTQ plus, there are also families, right, that we're talking about, that there are some families with two moms, there are some families with two dads, there are some families with grandparents that raised them, aunts and uncles that raised them, two uncles that raised them, two aunts that raised them. So today's book is And Tango Makes Three, and it's about two penguins that we're going to learn about that start their family. So this is And Tango Makes Three by Justin Richardson and Peter Parnell, illustrated by Henry Cole. And at the end of this, I'm also going to talk about a couple other books that I read through that looked really great. I know I said I was going to read a Patricia Polacco book today. I decided to change to this, but I am going to talk about that book at the end of this read aloud. So away we go. And Tango Makes Three. In the middle of New York City, there is a great big park called Central Park. Children love to play there. It has a toy boat pond where they can sail their boats. It has a carousel to ride on in the summer and an ice rink to skate on in the winter. Best of all, it has its very own zoo. Every day, families of all kinds go to visit the animals that live there. But children and their parents aren't the only families at the zoo. The animals make families of their own. There are red panda bear families with mothers and fathers and furry red panda bear cubs. There are monkey dads and monkey moms raising noisy monkey babies. There are toad families and toucan families and cotton top tamarin families too. I love the zoo. And in the penguin house, there are penguin families. Every year at the very same time, the girl penguins start noticing the boy penguins. And the boy penguins start noticing the girls. When the right girl and the right boy find each other, they become a couple. We see that happen a lot with humans too. Two penguins in the penguin house were a little bit different. One was named Roy and the other was named Silo. Roy and Silo were both boys, but they did everything together. They bowed to each other and walked together. They sang to each other and swam together. Wherever Roy went, Silo went too. They didn't spend much time with the girl penguins, and the girl penguins didn't spend much time with them. Instead, Roy and Silo wound their necks around each other. Their keeper, Mr. Gramsay, noticed the two penguins and thought to himself, they must be in love. Roy and Silo watched how the other penguins made a home. So they built a nest of stones for themselves. Every night, Roy and Silo slept there together, just like the other penguin couples did. So there's their nest of stones. And every morning, Roy and Silo woke up together. But one day, Roy and Silo saw that the other couples could do something they could not. The mama penguin would lay an egg. She and the papa penguin would take turns keeping the egg warm until finally it would hatch. And then there would be a baby penguin. Roy and Silo had no egg to sit on and keep warm. They had no baby chick to feed and cuddle and love. Their nest was nice, but it was a little empty. One day, Roy found something that looked like what the other penguins were hatching, and he brought it to their nest. It was only a rock, but Silo carefully sat on it and sat. And sat. When Silo got sleepy, he slept. And when Silo was done sleeping and sitting, he swam. And Roy sat. Day after day, Silo and Roy sat on the rock. But nothing happened. Then Mr. Ramsay got an idea. He found an egg that needed to be cared for, so he brought it to Roy and Silo's nest. Roy and Silo knew just what to do. They moved the egg to the center of their nest. Every day they turned it so each side stayed warm. Some days Roy sat while Silo went for food. Other days it was Silo's turn to take care of their egg. They sat in the morning and they sat at night. They sat through lunchtime and swim time and supper. They sat at the beginning of the month and they sat at the end of the month. And they sat all of the days in between. Until one day, they heard a sound coming from inside their egg. Beep, 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 it said. Roy and Silo called back. Squawk, squawk, beep, beep, answered the egg. Suddenly, a tiny hole appeared in the egg shell. And then, look at that. Crack! Out came their very own baby. She had fuzzy white feathers and a funny black beak. Now Roy and Silo were fathers. We'll call her Tango, Mr. Ramsay decided, because it takes two to make a tango. Roy and Silo taught Tango how to sing for them while she was hungry. They fed her food from their beaks. They snuggled her in their nest at night. Tango was the very first penguin in the zoo to have two daddies. Soon, Tango grew strong enough to leave the nest. Roy and Silo took her for a swim, just like all the other penguin families. And all the children who came to the zoo could see Tango and her two fathers playing in the penguin's house with the other penguins. Hooray, Roy! Hooray, Silo! Welcome, Tango! They cheered. At night, the three penguins returned to their nest. They snuggled together, and like all the other penguins in the penguin house, and all the other animals in the zoo, and all the other families in the big city around them, they went to sleep. And I want to read this author's note. All of the events in this story are true. Roy and Silo are called chin-strap penguins because of the delicate line of black feathers that loops under their beaks as if to hold a hat in place. After years of living side by side in the Central Park Zoo, they discovered each other in 1998, and they have been a couple ever since. Tango, their only chick, was born from an egg laid by another penguin couple named Betty and Porky. That couple had often hatched their own eggs, but they had never been able to care for more than one at a time. In 2000, when Betty laid two fertile eggs, Rob Ramsay decided to give Roy, Silo, and one of those eggs a chance to become a family. If you go to Central Park Zoo, you can see Tango and her parents splashing about in the penguin house, along with their friends, including Nipper, Squawk, Charlie, Wasabi, and Peewee. There are 42 chinstrap penguins in the Central Park Zoo and over 10 million chinstraps in the world. But there is only one Tango. The end. So that is In Tango Makes Three. What a great true story. And I love when true stories are made into picture books so that students and adults can enjoy them. I also want to show you a couple other books that were recommended to me from our library and through some research that I did online. So one, and this is right in the Riverdale School Library, Julian Is a Mermaid. And it's about this little boy who's on not the MBTA, but what would we call the MBTA? He's on the subway with his abuela, his grandmother. And he's on there and he sees these three women dressed as mermaids. So he wants to dress as a mermaid, and he does. And his grandmother, his abuela, takes him out to, they kind of do like a parade along the beach, and he does that with all the other mermaids. There's also Patricia Polacco's book, In Our Mother's House. This is a pretty new one. And again, this Patricia Polacco, I love her books. I just think it would be a really long lunchtime read aloud, and we only have so much time at lunch. But this is a great story about two women who are married and they adopt these three children. And it talks about their lives together and how the three children grow up and have their own families as well. So those books, if you're interested in those, you can take those out at your public library. You can look online on how to buy them. And I want to thank the many people that recommended And Tango Makes Three to me. I had a lot of people say, you should read And Tango Makes Three. And I'm so happy I did. I hope you're all enjoying this Pride Month where we talk about all different kinds of family structures and people just loving each other, because that's what it's all about. I hope you've had a great time enjoying these books. I'm sorry that next Wednesday we won't be in school for me to do this, but maybe you could find a book that you could read to someone in your house. Have a great day. Enjoy the rest of Pride Month. And if I don't see you before, have a great summer.